Hey guys, welcome back. This is Davin with davindeedoodles, and today I have a little bit of a different video for you. Today I am going to be bringing you a haul/hoard video. This is the small little haul I have from my shopping endeavors during August. It isn't too much, but I am trying to make a more conscious effort to use what I have instead of just constantly buying new things to try. So I figured to go along with this, since it would be such a short video, I would also show you my little hoard. It's not a haul anymore, it's going to be a hoard. And it's going to include things from the 3 different ways I see myself, the 3 different hobbies that I have, and it's going to include things for coloring, art, and a very brief look into my writing, because all of that stuff kind of entangles into one and it brings you me. So I thought this would be kind of fun, and I have had people ask in the past what I use for certain projects. So I'll go ahead and I'll try and give you the basics of what I use most. I do have a vast variety of things that I didn't really want to drag out for this video. If you want a complete tour and a look at everything I have, you'll have to subscribe to the channel and let me know down in the comments if that's exactly what you want to see. So with that said, let's just go ahead and jump into it. You can already see one of the first things I have. So this is the OHUHU markers. Anybody that knows me knows that I love to use my alcohol markers lately, and this is just the skin tone set. I bought this set for a few reasons. One is that I was able to kind of make do with the 48 set for characters that had more pigment to their skin, characters that were a little bit darker. But I had trouble really getting the looks right for my original characters that were pale. My northerners, my really pale people, it wasn't happening with that set. So I eventually branched out and I got these. Well, lo and behold, I was using it one day and one of the markers actually came apart in my hands. That's never happened since, but I got really freaked out because it was a color I use so often. And with OHUHU, you can't really buy one replacement and you can't buy refills. So I was panicking because I draw this character so much, I needed that pen. But my other thought was that these come with a really good variety of colors that you don't necessarily need to use for skin. For instance, there's this yellow ochre, there's, what color was this? There's this quince, there's a pale mauve. Like, it's got purples and really nice oranges and kind of red tones that I've actually been using to color other things besides skin. And these colors generally aren't in the 48 or 72 set that I have. So I was okay investing a little bit of money to have these for when my other ones ran out. It's just kind of like an extra supply. And, you know, after I had my little panic attack, my husband Anthony pretty much said that I use them so much he doesn't mind if I go ahead and just buy another set. So I have these on backup for when they eventually start drying out or I really do break one of the markers, because somehow I'm going to be able to do that. And I don't know how I did it, but I did it. It just came apart in my hands and I freaked out. So this is actually something that didn't come from Amazon. There's 2 of them. These were on sale at Michael's actually, and these are just Strathmore drawing pads. They are soft cover. I have the actual drawing paper and I have the mixed media paper, and I'm really excited because I have a smaller Strathmore sketch paper, I think, and it worked really well. So I'm super excited to use these, and well, you'll learn very quickly that I have an obsession with paper in general. I have a sketchbook for everything, I have a notebook for everything, I have a pile of notebooks in my closet that is ridiculous. So I plan to use this mostly for like my inking and things like that, and then I'm going to have an actual proper sketchbook for drawings and just sketches. So I'm super excited to have these because I really do think Strathmore is a good brand, especially when it comes to something you buy from the big box craft stores. Plus, it was buy one get one half off, so it wasn't hurting anything. This is from Kirby Rosanis. This is from Amazon, and I was so excited because I've been wanting a Kirby Rosanis book for a really long time since I found out about World Within Worlds, and I kept holding off, I didn't want to buy it, and then I went on Amazon and I happened to find all 3 of these books on sale for $20. And I'm talking all three were $20, not $20 a piece. So I jumped at the opportunity. Ever since I saw someone coloring out of Mythomorphia, I had to have this book. And so I have Mythomorphia, I have Imaginomorphia, however you say it, and then I have Geomorphia. Now what did kind of irritate me was that the book on the back is a little bit damaged. It looks like it just got bent, but none of the actual coloring pages themselves are bent, so I'm okay with that. It really is going to be fine, and I'm looking forward to tackling some of this stuff with some watercolor and colored pencil work. I cannot wait to get started. You guys, I just can't wait. So I had to show you. I figured everybody that did coloring, that liked really busy stuff, would be on the same boat with that, and we're all on the same team. So there's that. This is my little haul for the month, and I promised my husband I wouldn't buy anything else until I at least started using some of this stuff. Actually, no, that wasn't it. I lied. I'm a liar. Okay, I'm sorry. This is technically part of my haul. I invested in a 3-ring binder with some page protectors because I realized that my printer has the ability to print out really nice coloring images from digital downloads. So I'm starting to invest in that as well. Plus, I really wanted an art portfolio for like my loose leaf stuff, and so I'm keeping things that I couldn't keep safe in a sketchbook. I'm keeping it all together in here with these lovely coloring pages that I have to start tackling. So I'm really excited about that. I think Johanna Basford has a few free images that I'm going to start doing, and I know Jade Summer has digital downloads as well, so I'm really excited to color her images on good paper. So that was the last thing for August, I promise. Now, okay. I'm going to show you a quick glimpse into my writing life, and I apologize you are all nice and blurry there. Focus. Can you focus, please? There we go. I'm not kidding, I have like at least 25 of these like single subject college ruled notebooks, and I do that because when I write, I like to write by hand first, then I type it on the computer, then I go into like my second and third drafts. So what I do is I wait for right about now when the back to school supplies is highly discounted. I go pick up a huge box of these things when they're 25 cents and I hoard them. But I mean, I do use them. For instance, like this is my book for my character Shen, and this is 4 books so far for part 1 of his story, and he's gonna have a trilogy. So I have a ton of these notebooks, but okay, and I just have to show you guys, like, look how tiny this writing is. Do you see how tiny this writing is? I get my money's worth out of these. Paper is not wasted with these books. So there's that, and then I also have a collection of things like this. I don't know if you can really see. These are just like the journals you can buy from like Barnes & Noble. They're things that were either given to me as a present or I thought they were cute, so I picked them up. So I have like, I think there's 4 here, and I think I have a few somewhere else. But I have a bunch of these that I have to fill up. I'm just more reluctant to fill these kinds of things because it feels more official than if it's just in a spiral bound notebook I can tear out. But this is where the magic starts. This is where my ideas come from. This is where my original characters come from. So I thought I would share that with you. So, I do want to show you, oh God, dare I do it? I think I'm gonna have to. So I'm gonna show you some sketchbooks, and then I'm gonna show you my actual coloring books and then my coloring supplies. My sketchbooks will not be flip-throughs, but there's a lot of them. So, these are my sketchbooks, and they all have a purpose, I promise. So this is my Duncan sketchbook. He is my mermaid character I made for Mermaid. He is a coy boy, he is adorable, and I love him to pieces. So it's all about him and his little friend Pooja. And I'm actually still adding to this, so I still consider it part of my hoard because I have many pages that I'm going to be using to create my own coloring book and my own official illustrations to share with you guys one day. So there's this book that's strictly for Duncan and Pooja. There's this book that is strictly for story-related things. So I'm not gonna flip through it because I don't want to reveal too much about my characters or the world or anything like that. But this book is strictly for story-related, original character development sort of things. Then I have my B paper sketchbook. I do a lot of my alcohol marker work in here. You're gonna notice or remember this from a couple of videos. There's like the Mongolian kid. This is just really good marker paper, and I absolutely love to use it for smaller images. So like simple things like Aang, like the Mongolian boy, Todd, like this is perfect for that because it's small. So this is a book no one will ever see inside. This is my book. This is my private space, my safe space. This is what I use every morning when I'm going to sketch or draw something. This is what I use to warm up. I practice my faces, I practice my eyes, I practice whatever I'm going to be drawing that day, and I just use it to warm up. It's ugly, it's awful, but it's mine. And it's important because you have to warm up when you're drawing just like any other skill. I mean, sometimes I warm up when I'm coloring too. I usually don't just put colors straight on a coloring page. That's not how it works for me. I can't do that. I'm not confident enough. So this is a sketchbook. This is what I call my messy book. This is literally just what I put like thumbnails and sketches in, and apparently sheet protector pages. But it's got like thumbnail images, it's got rough sketches. If I'm trying to teach myself how to draw something before tackling a bigger image, it goes in this book. This is the second messy book I have. I already have a full one as well as another full sketchbook, but this is not a flip through. This is just me explaining to you my big art hoard. And then I have the big one, the ELO sketchbook, the one that everybody that draws and does art stuff raves about. I bought it for Christmas. I never used it until finally I did. And I like it. I like it for bigger projects. I like it for my alcohol markers and marker work for bigger pieces. I would never put something small on this. This is more like portfolio type artwork, I like to think. And it's very thick and it eats your markers alive. But it's very good paper and I love it. It's very tough, very thorough. So those are the ones that I mostly use every day right now. I feel like I'm talking a lot, so I apologize. I'm not used to talking this much. Alright, so that's all my sketchbooks. And now to the fun stuff. So I don't have, sorry guys, sorry for my arm. I don't have a ton right now. But as we saw with the Kirby Rosanna's books, I am trying to fix that. So this is one of the, I don't know, I would say it was probably the third book I bought. This is Johanna Basford's Lost Ocean. I already have a video out for like a coloring I did of the sharks for Shark Week, and I love this book. It is so busy, but it is so beautiful. I'm envious of her. I would love to have her patience to do this kind of stuff and to release coloring books. So I do have her, and I want to get more of her stuff, but I just haven't done it yet because I have Kirby Rosanna's, so it's now like, maybe in September I'll buy some more of her books. So I do have Jade Summers' fantasy collection, and I will admit for a long time I did not like her book. I didn't like the paper, I didn't like the images mostly, like, okay, I didn't care for a lot of the mermaid images, and I really don't care for the vampire images. So it was kind of like, why did I buy this? But I will say I fell in love with the fairy images for the most part, and I love the dragons. I might actually buy this book. If there's another one, I'm going to buy the dragon book because I am in love with the way the dragons look. It's just, it's too much, but if I ever made a color along video for something like that, it would take hours because the detail they put into those things. So I do have this, and I am starting to appreciate it more now that I'm kind of working more with the paper than against it. Alcohol markers are definitely the way to go for me. Color pencils just took way too long when I tried them in this. So I have this book. I also have Nice Little Town Christmas 2, and I have Nice Little Town Book 6. These are by Tatiana, Bogema, Stolova. These are the cutest coloring books ever. It really reminds me of some of my Duncan stuff. I just love it. I love the fact there's no humans in it, but they're doing human things, and you can be really whimsical with it, clearly. And I am just in love with these books. I cannot wait to do more work in them and get more supplies that may work a little bit better with them, because the paper, it's not the greatest. It's coloring book paper. I mean, you can definitely do stuff with it, but it's like I could never put watercolor or anything on it if I wanted to have, you know, the page on the behind it. So I do have these two books as well. And if anybody is interested in a color along, something like that, hit me up on Instagram. I'm more than willing to give it a shot. I'm definitely trying to get more involved in like the color alongs for, like, I think Nikki of Niagara has a Fire and Ice one, and I think Anne from A Colorful Life has one coming up for October. So I'm really trying to get more involved in things like that and just kind of more involved with the coloring community. So hit me up if you want to do a color along. Oh, take a breath. Okay. So that said, I'm going to show you the things I use most when I'm doing art projects or coloring. So you'll notice from the last video, and I'm sorry it went blurry again, I do watercolors a bit. Not a lot, but I do it a bit. I did it with Johanna Basford. I did it for my own stuff. And I just use a cheap set of watercolors that I picked up from Hobby Lobby because I was shopping there at the time. I mean, it's like a 24 pan thing, which some are missing. I don't know why. And I mix a lot of my own colors and just do that. I don't have any watercolor pens. I use brushes right now. So I just go to my mason jar full of brushes, I pick one, and I get coloring. So there's really no science behind it. There's nothing fancy, though I would love to invest in some better, more pigmented paints down the line. I don't feel I'm at that point yet, and I would feel guilty buying anything else. I do, however, also use gouache. I have used gouache for my own things. I haven't used it in a coloring book yet, though maybe that would be fun to try. I'm just worried that since it's opaque, it would kind of obscure the coloring book a little bit more, like the lines. But I have basic Master Touch 24 set. These are a ton of fun. If anybody's trying to experiment with gouache, just get a cheap set like this and just kind of let yourself play. You'll come up with some really nice stuff, and gouache is surprisingly forgiving compared to watercolors. So I will say that. I do enjoy gouache a little bit more than watercolors because it's a little bit faster and it's a little bit more forgiving. So now to the rest. I do use, as I've discussed earlier, OHUHU markers a lot. I have a skin set, and then I invested in the 48 set, and then I like the 48 so much I got the 72 set. So I have the full 72 set of OHUHU markers. I have a bunch of like duplicates ready to replace these when they dry out, and then I have a second set of the skin tones for the OHUHU markers. I do love OHUHU. I just really wish they offered refills or replacements. I'm gonna see if they'll actually let you do a custom order as well, because I would be willing to pay a little bit extra for the colors I want and just have those sent to me instead of having to buy an entirely new set when my grays and blues inevitably run out. So I cannot sing enough praises for OHUHU. I really do love them. And I can say that because I actually have other alcohol markers. I was getting really worried about some of my grays. So I invested in these Art and Fly markers, and I wanted to get colors that I didn't think I already had, so I got the 12 count pastel set and I got earth tones. And I really do like these markers too. They're really nice. They're very, very buttery on marker paper. If you put these on the B paper, they are absolutely lovely. They do have a fatter nib than, say, the OHUHU markers. I could actually show you. I don't know if anybody cares this much, but if anyone is kind of curious about Art and Fly, like they have kind of like an octagonal as opposed to the round. And here is the brush for OHUHU. It's very pointed, it's very firm. And I've noticed the brush for the Art and Flies are actually, they have more give to them. So I'm not, and I am very careful with these markers, but it's not really a flaw. They do have very pretty colors, and they do have purposes that the OHUHU simply can't fill because they're in colors the OHUHU doesn't offer yet. So I really do love these two, and they do mix well together. You've seen them in some of my coloring pages on Instagram, and probably in a video or two without realizing it. So I do have these guys, and obviously I also have gel pens. These are the Color It gel pens. They are the Metallics, Glitter, and Neon set. I wasn't sure what to invest in because I've never used gel pens. I never really cared, but I wanted something glittery, and I actually needed some glitter for one of my videos, for one of like my illustrations. So I figured I would go for it, and I used them a lot more than I thought I would, so I was really excited. Let me show you. It comes with a little sheet that I use to swatch, and it's really, there are a couple that are pretty scratchy, but they're pretty good. Like, I was really impressed. And, you know, people might complain about them, but I don't have much of an issue besides maybe one or two colors so far. So I have those, and then I have, let's see. All right, so then I have the Polychromos. Excuse me. I'm sorry about that. And I'm also sorry about my dog that's licking her feet. She has allergies, and she like attacks her feet really bad. So I do have the Faber-Castell, the Polychromos. I have a set of 36. I wish I had a bigger set, but these things are so expensive. And I didn't use them for the longest time. I didn't use them. I wouldn't use colored pencils. I had a set of Prismacolors. I got mad at those and I gave them away because I didn't like them. And then I had these, and they were just sitting there until finally I started using them. You do have a nice range of colors. You can see they have started being used. And I'm trying to learn better techniques for using colored pencils. I know that a lot of it is user error and it's impatience. So I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to kind of do mixed media pieces. If I use alcohol markers on a coloring page, I'll try and go over it with some, you know, colored pencils to really bring it to life, to add some shading, to really just make it more. So I use these a lot more than I ever did before. And, oh, the last thing. I also have the Faber-Castell Pitt pens. I have a set of 60. I'm not sure how much these cost. I don't remember. These are nicely pigmented, and you get a lot of colors. So I've not really used them for a whole lot until I started coloring, and I put them on the Johanna Basford book, and it didn't bleed through, and I fell in love. So I'm using them a lot in her books, and I have used them in some of my illustrations. So I really do like these. They're very nice for getting into the very, very fine, tiny places you would never be able to get to with an alcohol marker, and you just want like that immediate punch of color that you wouldn't get with a pencil. So I do use these a lot. I use both of those a lot. And before I forget, this is an important box. So this is actually a box that I inherited from my father, and I use it for all my art stuff now. It kind of holds its own little hoard. So I think this is mostly for illustration purposes. I forgot to put it with the rest. I totally almost forgot to include this at all. And this is a huge part when I'm creating anything. Because usually I start with a sketch and then I go over it with pens and then I either ink it fully or I color it with alcohol markers. So I have Micron Pens. It's just a set of black. These are what I use for outlining anything that I'm going to color, because those are the things that will not smear. I've never had an issue with like going over something with watercolor or alcohol markers. As long as you give it some time to dry, you can erase over it, it's fine. I've never had alcohol markers really pick it up either, unless it wasn't fully dry yet. So these are the same thing. It's just a set of sepia colors. I use these mostly for sketching or things that I don't want a harsh black outline for. I haven't had many projects where I've used these, but they're going to come in handy when you're doing, I don't know, like more images that are meant to look like sketches than final animated products or anything. So I use those. And then I also have Faber-Castell Pitt pens. And I have a set of gray and I have a set of black. I use the black a lot when I'm doing inking. I don't use the Micron pens quite as much. I love the Pitt pens because they have various widths. They have a chisel. They can get the thickness with almost like a brush type consistency that you wouldn't be able to get with any Micron pen. So I love these things when I'm doing ink work. I mean, I love them. And I never pay full price, by the way. You always like have coupons and stuff like that. And for a while I was doing only black and white illustrations, so I invested in some gray. I wanted to have the ability to do like some gray scales, and it wasn't terribly successful at the time, but I would like to go back and try it. So I also have a set of these that I use from time to time, but definitely the black and definitely the Micron pens for outlining things. So I'm pretty sure that's it. I think that was a nice little look into my life and into all three hobbies of mine and into my hoard and my very small haul. So I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any recommendations on items I should look into in the future, any coloring books, if you want to do a color along, let me know down in the comments. Reach out to me on Instagram, or you know, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we can see what I come up with next week. I'm hoping to have some more coloring done, and I'll definitely have some new original art coming out. I have a few ideas that are bouncing around in the back of my head. So please like the video, go ahead and subscribe, and I will see you next week. Thanks guys, stay safe.